Sometimes life strips everything away until all that's left is the choice between giving up or starting over. For Noah Whitaker, that choice arrived with an old barn that everyone else called worthless. He had lost his wife, his thriving architecture business, and nearly every dollar in a divorce that left him broken. Now, standing beside his 8-year-old daughter Leah, Noah stared at the rotting beams of a barn perched on 40 acres of forgotten Oregon land. To neighbors, it was a monument to failure. But Noah saw something else. Something about those beams whispered possibility, as if the structure itself had been waiting for someone brave enough, or desperate enough, to listen. What neither he nor his daughter could have imagined was that hidden within its walls lay a secret worth nearly $100 million. Not money stuffed in floorboards or gold buried beneath the soil, but something bigger, something designed by a woman a century ago whose work had been buried and forgotten by history. A secret that would not only change Noah's life, but could change the world, if he survived long enough to protect it. And as he turned the barn's broken door on its rusted hinge, he unknowingly stepped into the kind of mystery that begins small but unfolds into something far larger than anyone can control. Noah hadn't always been a man clinging to broken dreams. Just a few years earlier, he had been a respected Portland architect known for designing sustainable buildings that graced the covers of magazines. His wife Sarah used to tease him that he could make even concrete look graceful. But that was before the accident, before grief hollowed their marriage, and before lawyers dissected their lives in a brutal custody battle. When Sarah died suddenly in a car accident, Noah found himself the sole guardian of a silent, shell-shocked daughter and just $3,000 to his name. Desperate to escape the memories that haunted every Portland street, he jumped at the chance to buy the barn, its price so low it should have been a warning. He told himself it was a fresh start, a place to build a new life where no one knew their story. But the first time Leah looked up at the towering structure and whispered, "Daddy, it looks sad," Noah realized she was right. The barn wasn't just a ruin. It was a mirror of themselves, weathered, broken, and waiting to see if someone would care enough to bring it back to life. Neither of them knew yet that beneath the decay, the barn was hiding more than memories. It was hiding a design so precise, so far ahead of its time that it defied explanation. Noah's architect's eye quickly noticed the barn wasn't like others. Its proportions were too refined, its foundation too advanced for a 1920s farm structure. And then, while inspecting a corner beam, he found it, a seam in the concrete that looked less like a crack and more like a door. Pressing on it triggered a hidden mechanism, and a section of stone swung inward on century-old hinges. Inside lay a polished granite cornerstone, carved with hypnotic geometric symbols and an inscription, "Josephine Crawford, Architect. Erected 1923, Truth Endures. Activated 2023, a date that made no sense. His hands trembled as he lifted it, shocked by its precision, its artistry. And then a deeper shock. His late wife Sarah had sketched these exact same symbols in her leather notebook years earlier, filling page after page with patterns she couldn't have known. It was as if she'd been whispering across time, leaving behind clues that would only make sense here, in this forgotten barn. But before Noah could piece together what it meant, footsteps crunched outside. A county inspector appeared, clipboard in hand, declaring the structure uninhabitable until Noah could secure expensive permits. With nowhere else to go and no money left, Noah realized he was fighting not just against the decay of old wood, but against a system determined to push him and his daughter back into the cold. The inspector's words haunted him. 6 months of permits and renovations or eviction. For most, that would have been the end. But Noah had promised his daughter they would make this place home, and promises, as Leah reminded him, were how you make the future happen. So he kept digging, and the barn kept giving up secrets. Beneath warped boards, he uncovered a canvas-wrapped box of surveying instruments, impossibly advanced for 1923, crafted with alloys and precision decades ahead of their time. Inside was a letter: seek the resonance points, trust the mathematics. The world is not ready, but perhaps you will be. Signed by Josephine Crawford. The name sent ripples through the local historical society, and soon Dr. Elena Martinez, a historian, arrived. She revealed Crawford was one of the first black female architects in the Pacific Northwest, a genius suppressed by racism and sexism, her revolutionary designs credited to others or erased entirely. But here, in this barn, her vision remained intact, and it wasn't just architecture. Crawford had been designing buildings that harnessed natural energy flows, structures that functioned like living organisms. As Noah compared Sarah's notebooks to Crawford's instruments, a chilling thought settled over him. His late wife had somehow tapped into the same vision, as if her imagination had been tuned to the same hidden frequency Crawford had discovered a century before. Elena's research revealed Crawford had been buying land across Cedar Ridge under false names, building towards something larger than a single barn. And then Noah found the proof. Following coded blueprints hidden under floorboards, he uncovered a hidden stairway in the barn's center, leading deep into the earth. What they found was staggering: an underground workshop carved from bedrock, filled with instruments and schematics that didn't belong to the 1920s. Drawings covered the walls: energy patterns, resonance maps, designs for entire communities powered by natural forces. At the chamber's heart, a letter from Crawford herself: this structure is a prototype. Within these walls lies the key to clean, renewable energy. The mathematics are proven. The potential is limitless. If you are reading this, the world is ready. Seek the resonance points. Trust the building. Truth endures. For Noah, it was overwhelming. He hadn't just stumbled into a barn. He'd inherited a blueprint for a future the world still hadn't caught up to. A future Sarah had somehow anticipated in her sketches. But vision alone couldn't stop eviction notices, and it couldn't protect them from those who had been watching. Noah and Elena worked furiously, decoding blueprints encrypted with ciphers decades ahead of their time. They discovered the barn itself was a giant resonance chamber, designed to collect and convert natural electromagnetic energy into usable power. Like Gothic cathedrals built to amplify sound, this barn had been built to amplify the earth itself. And yet every breakthrough was shadowed by looming threats. Strange cars idled near the property. Phone calls hung up after 2 rings. And then a man arrived. James Morrison, representing Meridian Energy Solutions. His offer was staggering: $500,000 in cash to walk away. The catch: Meridian was no energy innovator. Elena uncovered their true nature, a corporate front that specialized in acquiring and burying clean energy patents to protect fossil fuel interests. Noah realized the barn wasn't just his lifeline. It was a battleground in a century-old war between those who built for the future and those who profited from the past. To sell meant betraying Crawford's vision, and Sarah's, too. To resist meant risking everything, not just money but safety. And when Noah spotted fresh tool marks on the barn's resonance mechanisms, he knew the enemy wasn't just negotiating. They were already moving to take what wasn't theirs. The first real strike came at night. SUVs rolled silently up the driveway, dark figures spilling out with military precision. Noah, Elena, and Leia scrambled into the underground chamber as the barn's door was forced open above. Voices barked coordinates, heat sensors tracking them. This wasn't vandalism. It was an organized operation. Cornered, Noah felt panic rising until Leia did something no adult would have dared. She seized Crawford's tuning forks and struck them one after another, filling the air with overlapping tones. At first it was sound, then it was vibration. Then the entire barn came alive. Beams shook, walls hummed, panels lit up with a glow not seen in 100 years. Crawford's system had activated. The barn wasn't just a structure, it was a living machine. Lights blazed across the valley, alarms shrieked, energy pulsed through walls once thought rotten. The intruders above fled into the night, blinded and overwhelmed. In that moment, Noah realized the barn was more than a home. It was a fortress, a legacy, and a beacon. But it was also a target, and from that night forward, they would not be able to hide what had been awakened. Dawn broke over Cedar Ridge with the barn still humming softly, alive in ways no building had a right to be. Noah looked at his daughter, who had stared danger in the face and unlocked a century-old dream. He thought of Sarah's notebook, Josephine Crawford's portrait, and the generations of visionaries who had paid with silence or sacrifice to protect truths too dangerous for their time. Meridian would come back. Others would come too. But for now, the barn stood as proof that impossible dreams could be real if someone was brave enough to carry them forward. And Noah knew his choice. He would not sell, he would not run. He and his daughter would protect Crawford's vision, even if it meant standing against forces far larger than themselves. Because some secrets aren't meant to be buried, they're meant to light the world. And as the barn glowed with new life, its resonance echoing into the valley, Noah understood that their story was only just beginning. If you've listened this far, you know you've just stepped into something extraordinary. So if you want to hear what happens next, make sure you're subscribed. Because tomorrow, we go even deeper into Josephine Crawford's hidden legacy. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming.